The special meeting of the Annapolis City Council on Monday, November 25th, 2024 will be called to order at 7 p.m. At this time, join us for the invocation given by Alderman Finlayson, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can we all bow our heads, close our eyes, and open our hearts? Dear Heavenly Father, I come to you, thanking you and praising you for the great gifts you bestowed upon us. Thank you for bringing us through an extremely difficult week, having lost two significant community leaders in Denise Johnson and Vincent Leggett. Lord, be with their families, giving them the fortitude to get through this tragic time and allowing the memories to be their strength. Lord, as we embark on our responsibility today, give us the gifts of wisdom, justice, counsel, and fortitude that will result in a strong and healthy and sustainable and collaborative city. These blessings I ask in your name. Amen.
Amen. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. 1 second. Mayor Buckley.
Here.
Alderman Huntley. Here. Alderwoman O'Neill. Present. Alderwoman Pendell Charles.
Here.
Alderman Finlayson.
Present.
Alderman Shandell Meyer.
Present.
Alderman Gay. Alderman Savage.
Present.
Alderman Arnett.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the first item on the agenda.
The first item on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
It's time I entertain a motion to approve the agenda and add
Yes.
R5224, 25-year Alex Haley Memorial Celebration on second reader, and recognition of an award to Sandra Kilstrom, and to remove reappointment of, okay, sorry, and to add R5824, postponed enhancement of ban on gas blowers. Thank you, Alderman Savage. And to remove reappointment of Rob Harubi, Building Boards Appeals, and reappointment of John J. Schwartz, Building Board of Appeals. Can I get a motion for that, please?
So moved.
Okay, all those in favour say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is ceremonial item, City Council Citations ID 17524, retirement of Denise Adaris Hector.
And do I have a citation on that?
It's right there.
It's up there. Right. All right.
It's fast.
I would like everyone to come forward. Denise, how you doing? Thank you for everything you've done for this amazing community. I'm going to embarrass you now with your husband. So. I can't believe they let you retire.
That's it. Oh my God.
Cool. Thank you. This is such an honor to give this to you.
Microphone.
All right, thank you. On behalf of the residents of the City of Annapolis, we're pleased to confer upon you this City Council citation in recognition of your retirement from the William Reese and Sons Mortuary, where you have provided compassionate service to residents for more than 5 decades. You began your remarkable career as one of the first African-American women to become a licensed mortician in Maryland, making a legacy as a trailblazer and a symbol of strength, resilience, and dedication. You have served our community with unwavering kindness and support, bringing comfort and solace to countless families during times of loss and grief. Your care, skill, and empathy have been an essential part of Reese's mortuary legacy and Annapolis's history. In your downtime, you're a proud and dedicated fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers, sorry about that, and an enthusiastic bowler, an avid player of the slots. We know that. Take care of that retirement money, don't we? We know that alongside your husband of 17 years, your 4 children and 5 grandchildren will have an enjoying and fulfilling retirement. We wish you joy, relaxation, endless happiness, and love from the city of Annapolis.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Do you want to say something? Or?
Well, first of all, good afternoon. And I truly want to just say thank you all for bestowing this honor upon me. Everything I do because God asked me to do it. And I just hope that even in my retirement, that I will continue to do whatever it is that He asked of me. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you and love you much.
We're not
Thank
going to
you.
let you leave because Governor Moore has also given us a citation to give to you. All right. It's much better than getting one from me. This is from the Governor of the State of Maryland. Be it known that on behalf of the citizens of this state, in recognition of the 50 years of dedicated, outstanding service you have made on behalf of William Reese and Sons Mortuary, in honor of the high level of professionalism, expertise, and commitment you have demonstrated throughout your distinguished career as one of the first African-American women to become a licensed mortician in Maryland, and as the people of Maryland join, as the people of Maryland join in expressing our great respect, admiration, and sincere best wishes on this occasion of your retirement, we are pleased to confer upon you this Governor's citation given under the hand of the Great Seal of the State of Maryland on the 25th day of November 2024. This is signed by Governor Wes Moore, Aruna Miller, and the Secretary of State. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I will point out that Reese's is one of the funeral homes in this community that really takes care of people that don't have a lot of access to resources when these tragic events happen. And that's really how I got to know this family. We would go to the funerals of these poor children that have been victims of whatever other kinds of violence, and Reese's was always there to help people that really sometimes couldn't help themselves. So thank you for what you do. Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item.
Yes, sir. A recognition of Miss Sandra Kilstron.
Right.
That's where you got that from. That's yours.
You got it? Do you want me to come to you? Yeah. I'm following you, right?
Okay, yes. So first off, I want to thank City Manager Malinoff, the mayor and council for giving us a position in our budget this year for our certified therapeutic recreation specialist. And so earlier this year, we wanted to celebrate Autism Acceptance Month, but we didn't have the expertise in-house. So I knew a woman who had the expertise. She had just retired from Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, who has one of the longest-standing therapeutic recreation programs in the country. And they actually won their first gold medal for their therapeutic recreation program. And she happens to be an Annapolitan, her and her husband, who was also a retiree from Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission. And I said, Sandy, can you do us a favor? Can you create an event for Autism Acceptance Day? And well, actually I said Autism Awareness Day. And because she's so knowledgeable, she said, it's actually Autism Acceptance Day. And I said, well, see, that's why we need your help, Sandra. So she did an amazing Autism Acceptance Day for us. She volunteered. We ordered the supplies. She told us what we needed to order. And it was just wonderful because a lot of the parents in the community had not been served by Recreation and Parks. We even included a mobile sensory room that she created. She had vendors come in from all over to be able to help parents. And so we put an award forward through Maryland Recreation and Parks Association, which is our state association for recreation and parks, and she won the Community Volunteer Award of the Year. And she's an Annapolitan. She dedicated her time, her expertise, and she did an amazing job. So Sandra Kallstrom, thank you.
Hold that in the middle of us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And if that's not one Annapolis, I don't know what is. Amazing. Thank you so much, Ross. Mr. City Attorney, next item, please.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is petitions, reports, and communications, beginning with an update from the mayor.
All right. So good evening. Firstly tonight, as you've heard, I must acknowledge the sad news. Vince Leggett, founder of Blacks of the Chesapeake, passed away suddenly on Saturday night. Vince dedicated his life to preserving the rich heritage of black watermen and their contribution to the Chesapeake Bay maritime culture. As executive director of Blacks of the Chesapeake, he worked to ensure that the black community's vital role in the region's water and seafood industry is recognized and respected. Under his guidance, Blacks of the Chesapeake grew into an influential organization, engaging with schools, museums, preservation groups to raise awareness and preserve our history and our environment. In particular, I want to acknowledge the crucial role Vince played in the city's acquisition of Elktonia Beach, once part of the famed Cars and Sparrows beaches that provided a safe haven for African-American families during times of Jim Crow. The Elktonia property is now preserved for future generations as a public park managed by the City of Annapolis on behalf of all of our residents, an achievement that would not have been possible without Vince. He was a true friend and partner to the city and this community. I know that all the council join me in mourning Vince, in honoring his incredible legacy and extending our heartfelt sympathy to his wife and family, and we will continue to honor his legacy by ensuring the history of black watermen remains a cornerstone of our community heritage and the Elktonia's Heritage Park mission. And now please join us for a moment of silence. Thank you. Earlier today, I was privileged to join some important community events. The first was a press conference and commemoration ceremony to honour the 64th anniversary of the day when 5 courageous black Annapolitans walked into a restaurant and asked to be served just like every other citizen. They were arrested and ultimately fined, but as a result of their protest, local anti-discrimination laws were passed. Ultimately, their protests, like thousands of others all over America, would result in the passage of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. We owe the Annapolis Five and the many others who stood up for justice at that time an enormous debt of gratitude, because their courage ensured a more free and fair democracy for all of us today. May we always honour their legacy, and may we face the challenges of our time with the same courage that they showed in the face of oppression and injustice. The second event I was fortunate enough to attend today was the annual We Care and Friends Thanksgiving dinner at the Stanton Center. This was a wonderful Annapolis tradition where we get to serve residents in need a Thanksgiving supper with turkey, dressing, all the trimmings. Afterwards, we gathered in friendship to share a slice of pie. I missed the pie, so I hope you saved me a slice, Karma, did you? I want to thank all of those who joined in the meal and all those who prepared the food and volunteered to serve it. At this moment is a true community Annapolis reflection. All of our APD were there cooking up. We had every group there. It was packed house at the Stanton Center. Really made us so proud to be part of that. We're all looking forward to further celebrating Thanksgiving later this week. So as a reminder, the city offices are closed on Thanksgiving and Black Friday. I want to wish my council colleagues, city staff, and all residents a very happy holiday. And I'm thankful for all of you, and hope you all enjoy a wonderful celebration with your family, friends, and loved ones. So Thanksgiving kicks off our holiday season here in Annapolis, and we can already see the business district in downtown, Inner West Street, and West Annapolis decorated and ready for the holidays. At the last meeting, I invited city staff and the public to our annual City Hall open house on Thursday, December 5th from 5 o'clock to 6:30. It will be my last turn hosting the open house as a mayor, so I hope to see you all there for what will be an especially festive celebration because we've added champagne. December the 5th will also be the first night of Midnight Madness downtown, so please come out for that. I hope to see you out there. Stores stay open late. There are carolers, twinkling lights, hot cocoa, and alpacas. Make sure you come down for at least one of the nights at Midnight Madness. The other 2 nights are December 12th and December 19th. This weekend, we've got more festivities with the First Sunday Arts Festival, the Chocolate Binge Festival, and the Grand Illumination at Market Space. On December 7th, there's the West Annapolis Holiday Market. The following weekend, the City Dock Holiday Market and Eastport Lights Parade. And that's just scratching the surface of all the activities and events taking place in Annapolis this holiday season. And that is why we are rated one of the best holiday season destinations in America. Please check the city website for more information. Also, starting December 2nd, Annapolis Police Chief Edward Jackson's Community Engagement Division is launching Coffee with a Cop, an opportunity for the public to engage with the Annapolis Police. From 10 to 11 p.m., stop by Betty and Bo's Coffee Shop at 124 Dock Street to have coffee with one of our amazing police officers who are working very hard to build relationships across the community so that together we can all make our city safer. And finally, we have one more council meeting in December 9th before we wrap up for 2024. I want to take this opportunity to give a special shout out to our city employees who do the hard work of municipal government every single day. You respond to emergencies, give comfort in times of trauma, keep the streets clean, provide transportation, ensure that our kids have a fun place to go for recreation, among many, many other things. I could not be prouder of the work of the city staff each and every day. I'm honored to be your mayor. I know this whole council feels the same and joins me in thanking you for another year of hard work on behalf of our residents, businesses, and visitors. Now, Mr. City Attorney, next item, please.
The next item is reports by committee.
Who's got the hand up? Alderman Shannemeyer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Economic Matters met on November 20th, where we gave a favorable recommendation to 0624. We postponed action on 01124, and we gave a favorable recommendation to R4624 with amendments. And we also said a fond farewell to Mr. Stephen Rice and thanked him for his service to our city, including through the Economic Development Program, and we will miss him. Our next meeting is going to be sometime in December, third Wednesday. Third Wednesday, we'll figure it out.
Thank you. Exciting about Stephen, Secretary. Now, that's amazing, right? So we have a contact way up there. Awesome. Alderman O'Neill.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Transportation Committee met last week on the 13th. We talked about what's going on in the Transportation Department as well as parking garages. We also had a presentation by the KFH group that are currently doing a study of transportation for the long-term strategic plan for transportation. And they were doing a follow-up to their study and the survey results that evening. Our next Transportation Committee meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, December 11th at 4 o'clock here in council chambers.
Thank you. Alderman Pindell Charles.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Public Safety Standing Committee met on November the 13th. At that time, we had general discussions individually from our Annapolis Police Department, Annapolis Fire Department, and our Office of Emergency Management. They gave updates as well, and Deputy City Manager for Resilience and Sustainability, Ms. Gao, was present to answer questions from the committee. Our next Public Safety Standing Committee meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, December the 11th, 2024, at 6:30 p.m. Thank you. Here in council chambers.
Alderman Savage.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one highlight. We met on November 20th. Oh, that's today. Met on November 14th. And we discussed, oh, sorry, I didn't even say that. Environmental Matters Committee meeting. So the highlight is we discussed R4624, which is the task force to study residential marine vessels. After a robust conversation, discussion, we ended up making a couple of amendments to it, recommending a couple of amendments that just added some additional details environmentally that we wanted the task force to address. So those should be posted if you want to take a look at them. Our next meeting is December 12th at 3 p.m.
Thank you. Alderman Gay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Housing Human Welfare Committee did not meet in November. We will meet December the 16th, and we have a jam-packed schedule, including some items as it relates to Admiral Oaks legislation that we're clearing up, and that's all.
Thank you. Alderman Finlayson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Rules and City Government Committee report was given at the last meeting. So I just wanted to announce our next meeting is on Friday, December 6th at 1 o'clock here in council chambers. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is comments by the general public.
Not too many people here from the public today, but unusual. Anyone like to come forward and speak on any subject they feel like? Please come forward.
I'm not used to doing this here. Do you call us up by bill?
Just come and just identify yourself, name and address.
I signed up for bill.
So you're signed up, there's a public hearing for what you're here for later. So, yep, I will call that one when it's ready. This is just for any other topic other than the one you're here for. Anybody else? Going once, going twice. Okay, nice. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is consent calendar.
Can I get a motion for the consent?
Approval of the consent calendar as amended.
Second.
The roll call. Please call the roll.
Mayor Buckley?
Aye.
Alderman Huntley? Aye. Alderwoman O'Neill?
Aye.
Alderman Kendall Charles?
Aye.
Alderman Finlayson?
Aye.
Alderman Shannon Meyer? Aye. Alderman Gay? Aye. Alderman Savage?
Aye.
Alderman Arnett?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item is public hearing. Public hearings, beginning with ordinance 02824, Police Department Property and Contraband Disposal.
All right. We have one person come forward. Please, John, come and state your full name and address. Thank you.
Okay. John Corrin, President of Bicycle Advocates for Annapolis and Anne Arundel County, also known as Bike AAA. I want to thank Alderman Kendall Charles for bringing this bill and Alderman Savage for his amendment. This bill will enable the Annapolis Police Department to donate unclaimed bicycles to 501c3 nonprofit. I want to make sure that you're all aware of our Wheels of Hope program, which does exactly that and has brought scores of bicycles to both children and adults here in Annapolis and throughout the county. It's a partnership of Bike AAA, Anne Arundel County Food Bank, which on the Crownsville property, which provides a space for a repair shop and incoming bikes and ready bikes, Luminous Anne Arundel Medical Center, County Police Department, and one of the bike shops. We collect donated bikes of all kinds, from training wheel bikes to adult bikes. Volunteers refurbish them, and they go back into the community to people who might not otherwise have a bicycle. Underprivileged children, and we've done that here in Annapolis, through the Annapolis Police Department, through some of the schools. Mr. Fix-A-Flat, Kawan Moore, has been out to our place, and we've given Kawan additional bikes and parts and helmets for the kids. We did a program at the Marshall Learning Center where Annapolis Police came out, delivered bikes to a group of Hispanic kids at Quiet Waters Park, again, together with helmets. Most of our adult bikes go to people in substance recovery. We work with a variety of recovery homes and programs throughout the county. Transportation is a significant challenge for people in substance recovery, typically for legal reasons and or economic reasons. They cannot drive, and yet to succeed, they've got to get to their meeting, they've got to get to a job interview, to work, and they rely on bicycles. And every bicycle that goes out the door, children's bikes all with a brand new helmet, the adult bikes all go out with a helmet, lock, and lights, because we know they're using them for transportation day and night. We receive bikes from a variety of places, individual donors who can bring them to the food bank and leave them there for us. And organizations, faith-based groups have done bike drives. Anne Arundel County Police have brought us bikes out of property recovery. WMATA, I'm over, my reputation's intact. And Annapolis Police, with whom we have worked a lot, Lieutenant Krause, TJ is our go-to guy, TJ Woolfolk for all things bicycles. They've been itching to give us bikes out of recovery. We'll take them, we'll fix them up. The ones that can't be fixed, we'll pull them apart for parts so we can make other bikes work, and the bikes will go out through the program. So this bill, with the amendment, will enable us to receive the bikes that they so desperately would like to give us. So we hope you'll pass this bill.
Thank you so much. Alderman Pendell Charles.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you so much for all you do for the biking world. And I want to thank Alderman Savage for bringing this amendment to our attention. It's really worthwhile, and it certainly gives us a good perspective of the circle of life. So thank you so much again, as always.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Anybody else like to come forward and speak on O28-24? Right, I declare the public hearing closed. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item.
Still the public hearings. The next one is O2924, fence permit requirements related to buildings and construction standards in Title 17.
Anybody like to come forward and speak on O29-24? Okay, I declare the public hearing closed. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item.
Yes, the next item for public hearing is O3124, mobile food service vendors signage.
Anybody like to come forward? Speak? Nope. Okay, I declare the public hearing on O31-24 closed. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item is O3224, fire sprinkler system requirements clarification.
Anybody here to speak on O32-24? Going once, twice, three times. I declare O32-24 closed. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
The next item on the agenda is legislative actions, beginning with first readers. Ordinance O3524, fair cannabis employment practices.
Is there a motion to adopt O-35-24 on first reader?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, all those in favor on first reader, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. Oh, can I refer that to Rules of City Government and Housing and Human Welfare Committee? Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item agenda.
Yes, sir. The legislative actions first readers resolutions R5524, budget process timeline for fiscal year 2026.
Could I get a motion on R55-24?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Alderman Gay.
Thank you. I have a question. I remember Alderman Savage bringing up some of the negotiations.
Can't hear you.
I remember Alderman Savage mentioning that I believe the unions are supposed to start negotiations at the end of the year, right around this time. I'm curious if that's started. Is that no? I thought it was October 11th or something.
Get the city manager to clarify that. Thank you.
We just completed the 2-year, we have a 2-year contract, so it'll be the next council.
The next mayor's problem. Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is resolutions R5624, 2025 Salary Review Commission members updated.
Is there a motion to adopt R-56-24?
So move.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, the next item on the agenda is R5824, postponing enforcement of gas-powered leaf blowers.
Right.
So
Can I
moved.
get a motion
Move.
and a second?
Second.
Thank you. Alderman Finlayson, did you have your hand up?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I did have my hand up. This ordinance has not come back to the Rules
Oh,
Committee.
no, we're on leaf blowers, and the next one will be
I'm sorry,
here.
I
Yep.
thought we were on O26.
Yeah.
58.
O58-24 is what we're on right now.
R58.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. So, Alderman Gay on O58-24.
Thank you. I just have a point of information. Is this on first or second reader?
First reader.
Okay. And is the expectation that this will be suspended?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Unless you want to.
This is just to postpone it,
Yeah,
till.
I'm just curious if this will solve the actual issue. I get it. Obviously, it delays it so people have more time. But do you believe that this will be an effective solution to some of the concerns we've received for R5824?
Alderman Savage.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, just a little explanation on this, and I think our deputy city manager might want to comment too. But the intention of this is just to give staff more time to put together the rebate program, since we've heard some concerns from people, and so staff has looked at what other jurisdictions have done, and they, I believe, are in discussion with the Resilience Authority to potentially help administer such a, I don't know if it's going to be a rebate or a voucher,
Voucher.
but, okay.
Deputy City Manager Jackie Guild for Resilience and Sustainability. Yes, so what we have, we've looked at various different options for providing financial assistance program to provide discounts on the purchase of electric leaf blowers so that residents and lawn care and landscaping companies could have vouchers so that when they purchased electric leaf blowers, they could get a discount. So a larger discount for the lawn care and landscaping businesses because the type of electric leaf blowers that they would purchase are much more expensive. They're heavier duty, so they're more expensive, and then a lesser amount for the vouchers for a lesser amount for residential leaf blowers. They're lighter duty and they're less expensive. So we're looking at different ways you could implement the voucher program. We've done a lot of research on this. And it would take a little time to put together the voucher program and implement it and get it underway. So we're, to provide plenty of time to develop it and implement it and get it out, the vouchers out to residents and businesses and allow them time to purchase electric leaf blowers. We've suggested a 6-month delay in enforcement for this program.
We go.
Thank you. I just have 2 questions for the sponsor or the deputy city manager. And I missed the original vote on this, and so I have never had an opportunity to participate in the question process on the ban. So my first question is, when you say voucher, are we talking taking funds from the general fund and allocating them to a special fund that then the finance director would administer, I'm assuming, checks of some sort to businesses so that they would have subsidy when purchasing electric leaf blowers?
Something along that line, so the resident or business would have a voucher, would have a value attached to it that they would present so that they could get, purchase a electric leaf blower for a discounted price. And then the business that is selling the electric leaf blower could then redeem that with the city. Now, this would not necessarily have to be run through the city. We looked at doing that with the city. There's a certain amount of staff time and burden on staff, setting up the contracts with the businesses, setting up accounts. There's procurement time as well as Office of Law time and finance time and then other staff time. I have spoken with the Resilience Authority, and that's something that the Resilience Authority could take on and run with a third-party contractor. So it could be done more efficiently and without burden to city staff if we did this with the Resilience Authority. So we would use one-time funds out of the general operating fund to do this. We'd have to set aside funds to do this.
And so now I have just 2 question 1A and 1B, and then I still have question 2. So 1A is how much would that be? And question 1B then is, would you then have to come back to the council so that a supplemental appropriation could be passed? So this resolution postpones the ban, but does not actually give authority for spending.
So we have already requested supplemental appropriation, and...
Oh, was that on tonight's agenda?
No, it's
Oh, okay.
not. No, it's just making its way through the
Okay.
process right now. The amount we requested was $105,000 for the first year. And that allows us to set up a fund and also from some administrative costs. And then we will have that first year to see how it goes, basically, to see how many vouchers are issued, how many people request them, and we can see if there's a large demand, how much money we will be asking for in subsequent years. And generally, we've looked at other jurisdictions. Some have done this for a period of 1 year, sometimes for 2 years, 3 years or more. And sometimes the amount that is provided goes down in subsequent years. Some jurisdictions, such as Washington, D.C., continue to offer it for many years, but they go down quite a bit in the amount of money that they offer. So the first year, we're requesting $105,000.
So you'll trust the expertise. I just hope that, I think that if we're giving money to businesses, maybe there'd be some requirement that they buy local, or I don't know. Or maybe we work with a local hardware or a hardware factory that, has ties, just so that the money is, I would hate to give $105,000 away and people are going to Home Depot, or Lowe's, Second question, and I'm sure you've done the research. Well, actually, also, I would hope that the businesses that are getting these grants would have to be based in the city of Annapolis, because I don't get why we would give, let's say, money to a landscaping company that's out of Prince George's, but they serve Annapolis residents. I don't understand that. Second question, is it effective even just to exempt businesses from the ban and just make this a residential ban? I'm sure you've thought of this, Alderman Savage, but I'm just curious. I mean, it's obviously, I don't know how many Annapolis-based landscaping companies there are, but I'm curious if it's actually worth the hassle. And I'm sure you've done the research as well, and that's my last question. Thank you.
There are 20 City of Annapolis business lawn care and landscaping businesses in the city of Annapolis. Now, there are other businesses in Anne Arundel County that work, plenty of other businesses in Anne Arundel County that work within city limits. So it is not up to me to write this. This legislation was already passed that includes businesses as well as residents. It applies to residents of the city of Annapolis as well as anyone operating, including businesses within the city of Annapolis. That's why the ordinance is currently written. So anyone who is buying anything in the city of Annapolis and who resides in the city of Annapolis, the vouchers would be open to anyone living in the city of Annapolis who wishes to purchase an electric leaf blower. And lawn care and landscaping businesses operating within the city of Annapolis.
So the vouchers for residents and landscaping.
And city landscaping and lawn care businesses. When we wrote up a memo, when we researched this and provided it to the Environmental Matters Committee, excuse me, we also looked at options where we could provide the vouchers also to businesses that operate within city of Annapolis and could prove that they do a certain amount of businesses or a certain percentage of their business within the city of Annapolis, or are within a certain radius of the city of Annapolis. And how far do you go? And then the amount of money we would need to support them goes up and up and up. So we decided, let's just stick with city of Annapolis businesses and residents for this first year. And if the vouchers don't get used, but perhaps we can expand beyond that. We have to look and see how it goes.
Question quickly to the sponsor, have you considered exempting the businesses? As she's mentioned, very good point, it'd be up to the legislative body, not
Alderman Savage?
Exempt them
from the ban, so that, businesses could operate still with the, gas-powered leaf blowers. I know one of the concerns was sound, so just, say from 10 to 3 or something. Have you thought of that?
Well, I think that's more of an enforcement issue, more difficult to enforce. But no, I mean, we're trying to figure out ways to address the public feedback we've received thus far. I think exempting businesses would be a bigger change that require a code change, but it also, I think businesses are for me anyway, I think businesses are the group I would really like to target more, because they do the majority of the leaf blowing in the city. So I think with the money, the question at this point, well, not at this point, but down the road, maybe how much of that pool of money do we want to give to businesses or to residents? I mean, personally, I'd rather have it focused on residents who need the money, but also have more of a go towards businesses, because I think we'll get the most bang for the buck focusing on businesses to help them with the transition And that's really how I'm seeing this it's just the transition assistance and you know, they've looked at some other jurisdictions who've done this to get ideas of how to set it up.
Thank you.
Alderman Pindell Charles.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have several concerns, and I'm going to kind of outline them here. There was a resident who had sent a long list of emails to us about this original legislation. And one of my responses to that was that Councilwoman Rodvian had also asked about such legislation being postponed. Is there some alignment with what she's asking for? I don't know. I didn't know this was going to be on the agenda tonight, and I was at an event with her this morning. If I'd known that, I would have asked her what her position is at this point as far as postponing or dealing with it longer. Has anybody reached out to her? I think we all saw that email, and I'd like to know what her position is, because for one thing, Ward 3 borders on the county. So people don't know half the time if they're in the city or in the county. And so I have, and I don't know, you said there are 20 in the city. Have you broken it down by ward? I was just curious. I know my neighbor is a lawn care landscaper a couple of doors down from me. I have not had an opportunity to talk to him to see how this would affect him. And the other thing is to, I don't know, based on this legislation, and we're talking about businesses, and I'll go so far as to say a lot of them are Hispanic businesses. I don't really know, and I don't think anybody on this dais or anybody here knows what the impact of our recent presidential election has on those businesses. By July or June the 1st, we may have a good idea.
I would just say the ordinance has passed, so this is about delaying the enforcement.
And I thank you so much. I get that, but I feel like I need to say what I'm saying because of my residents. I think I get the courtesy of doing that, but anyway. I don't know if this should be postponed a year, 9 months, but those are my concerns with this legislation, but I feel like I need to offer those comments up to everyone. Sorry for being out of order.
Well, there was one question in there about the wards, and no, we did not identify how many or which businesses by ward, but if you need that information, I'm sure we can get that to you. So we just counted the number in the city, but I mean, we obviously identified them by address, so we can identify the ward, how many in each ward.
Okay. I'm just kind of leery about this whole process, I guess. I know Alderman Savage, I think, wanted to respond about maybe County Councilwoman Rodvian or something.
Yeah, I'm going to go around. Everyone's got their hand up, so I'm going to go around and give everybody a turn.
Fine. Thank you for the indulgence. Sorry,
Thank you.
I
No worries.
apologize for being lengthy again.
Alderman Annette had his hand up, then Alderman Huntley.
I would like to be added as a co-sponsor, as I am on the ordinance, and I was just pointing out, this is a resolution to postpone so that we can discuss the very things that are being discussed. We need to discuss that when we're discussing the ordinance, but I would like to be added as a sponsor.
Okay, thank you.
You can
Alderman
skip me.
Huntley.
Skip.
Nope. Alderman O'Neill.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to say that this is a delay of enforcement. It's a postponement of the enforcement. It's not a postponement of the ban. The ban is still taking effect, which Alderman Savage and I spoke briefly of. I do think that given circumstances and all of the things that you pointed out, the extra 6 months to have the deputy city manager be able to work out the voucher program makes the most sense. We've just been kind of rolling through and trying to figure out the best way forward. So just pointing out that it is a postponement of the enforcement, not a postponement of the ban.
Okay, anybody else? Alderman Finlayson, sorry.
That's okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was in support of postponing for 6 months, but after hearing from my colleague from Ward 3, I think I'd like to make a motion that we postpone it for a year. I sit on the Environmental Matters Committee, and we haven't had a clearly, I mean, we have an idea of the program that you're designing, but it hasn't gotten as far as it needs to be, I think. And 6 months, I'm not sure is an adequate time to put everything in place and to gather all the information about who and how and where and all of that. So I would like to make a motion that we amend that to be 1 year.
I think
Can we do
the city
that,
clerk
Ms.
has
Aldridge?
something to add to that.
Eldridge, I'm sorry.
Second, we got a motion and a second on the floor. Got to deal with the motion and second first.
Was there a
just made a
second?
motion.
There was no second.
Second.
And it's been seconded.
Point of order, this is
Ms.
first.
Eldridge, I'm sorry.
First reader.
Yeah.
This is first reader. You typically don't amend on first reader.
When is the inception date, or when is the start date for this ban?
Well, yeah, I was, a point of information, it's actually, as written, it is delaying for 5 months, not 6.
When is this ordinance supposed to take effect? January 1st. Okay, so we don't have a lot of time. We have one more meeting. So we can amend it so that.
I would just get some clarification from the
Okay.
city clerk who said that we can't go out 12 months. We maybe could go out 9. You said that, is it?
Your last meeting is the second week of October. You don't have a year.
Okay, so 9 months.
And we got a motion and a second on that 9 months, is that right or not?
You got to amend on.
So may I repeat, Ms. Aldridge?
I'm going to let the city clerk just clarify.
I just want to say, if you want to go further, you just have to adopt it on first reader, you amend on second. So when it comes back to the next agenda, you can amend it for 9 months, make any changes you want, but we don't amend on first reader.
Okay.
So,
We all happy with that? Alderman Gay?
thank you. And because when I asked this question at the beginning, if we had to suspend the rules, I was under the impression that it's, as we've done every single resolution, if it comes in on first reader, we typically suspend the rules and it's passed, the same day, and particularly with something like this where it's like the legislation has already been in effect, you'd like to have this. So is this leaving here tonight, going to Environmental Matters, where you will then create an amendment, bring it back to, well, what's going on then? Is it?
So that's all happening. We'll leave, we'll go to the committees that it's sent to? No? Okay. Alderman Savage?
It's a resolution because again, the effective date that we passed with the original legislation was January 1st. And so that would be traditionally when enforcement would start. So what we're trying to do with this is, again, buy staff time to put together the voucher program. And, the issue, there are a couple issues with extending it beyond 6 months. And this is it's 6 months as of today. It's going to be 5 months by the time it passes, perhaps a little over 5 months.
Respectfully, Alderman Savage, June 1 is 5 months after January.
It'll be 5 months if this passes. But some of the issues with that, with extending it, besides another council term, is that staff has already sent out public notices about this to all of the landscape companies, right? And so I do want to say, it's already taken effect, like was stated. I think it's just going to be a little confusing if we delay it for super long, the enforcement. But the other thing, again, for perspective, the reminder, this is an attempt to respond to the public feedback we've received. And I know personally, and I think even on the committee as well, we've only heard concerns from 2 different landscape companies and then a third company that does fuel additives. to make, they do something with fuel additives to leaf blower engines and lawn maintenance engines. So we've notified all the landscaping firms, how many? 20, and we've only heard back from, I don't even know officially if you've heard back from any, but I've heard back from only 3 with,
We've heard back
2 with
from
concerns.
about 3 or 4.
And so again, this is a good faith effort to try to respond to those concerns by creating a mechanism, a structure to help people pay for this, because the other thing with 6 months, I think, the next big season is going to be the following fall. So this gives us time to get the program ready. It gives them time to get the rebates and the vouchers out there so they have time, again, to purchase the equipment before the big season in the next fall. So if we want to have more discussion about that when it comes up for second reader, so be it. But that's also my thinking. I think it's the benefit of a resolution as opposed to an ordinance as well, is that we can do this in 2 meetings in time before this technically takes effect in January. And so that's why I think it'd be better served not to go to committee.
Thank you. Alderman Shannon hasn't had a chance to weigh in yet.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have 2 comments. One is, this is first reader, so we should probably just call the question. But 2, for as far as my 2 cents, I've gotten more complaints about the noise that leaf blowers make rather than the band coming up. Like, a lot of people, man. So let's call the question. We can debate the merits of the timeline. We can debate the merits of the delay at our next meeting, but this is first reader, folks. Let's call the
I
question.
think you're the last person to comment, so let's call the question. All those in favor say aye of the postponement of the enforcement. Say aye. Aye. All those against?
Abstain.
Thank you. Right. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is second readers, beginning with ordinance O-2623, Forest Conservation Plan Appeals.
So O-2623. Okay, we got a second on that. Have you seconded it? Or not?
Second.
Okay. I know Alderman Finlayson wanted to weigh in here because it didn't get to her committee, so she could postpone this so she can get to her committee or not? Huh?
Yes, I'd like to postpone action until it goes to the rules.
Okay. Okay. Alderman Savage, so you want to postpone?
Absolutely, yes, I do.
We need 90%, 100% or 90%?
It's reached the 90-day period.
Okay.
It didn't pass, and so the postponements need unanimous consent by the council.
Unanimous, okay. Well, let's see how that goes.
I'm not hearing what Mr. Lyle said.
It reached the 90-day period, so in order for it to be postponed a third time now, it has to be unanimously consented to by the council.
And that's the 90 days for the legislation or for the committee?
For the legislation.
Okay.
Okay, so Alderman Savage had his hand up first.
Was that seconded?
Sorry?
I moved, you second.
No, I mean,
I did say
the
second.
motion.
I said second.
Okay, so as far as a postponement, I really want this voted up or down tonight. This has been on the books since 2023. It got delayed quite a bit in the planning commission, then we postponed it. It has been to all the committees. As the city attorney alluded to, we did send it back after the first twice, I think, but on one of the times, after the 90-day rule, we sent it back to Environmental Matters. It went to Rules and Government, but it was not supposed to. And I went back and listened to the meeting. I only asked for it to be referred back to Environmental Matters. Now, as far as, I don't entirely know why you want to go back to Rules, because it's the same version that was reviewed in Environmental Matters, which you serve on. So I don't think it's going to serve any purpose to go back to committee. I don't understand what change you would want to make to it. I would ask that we just be done with this one way or another. It's been on the books for way too long. I don't want to move on one way or another.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Gay, then Alderman Shannemeyer. Oh,
Thank you. And the reason I've supported the Alderwoman's motion is because exactly what you've just outlined. It's been so long since I think any of us have even had an opportunity to familiarize ourselves with the Planning Commission's findings and a couple of the amendments that you've added. I don't know how legislation can be drafted in 2023, sent to the planning, the Planning Commission as you follow the rules, and just dropped on the agenda on a random November night. I mean, I don't get that. I think allow her to send it back to the committee so that the committee can review it. And if there are necessary changes or amendments, then the committee can, make the proper changes. I do think that, and I do have other concerns, but I'll address those once we get to being able to debate the ordinance and not to postpone it.
Thank you, Alderman Shannemeyer.
Yield my time.
Good. Alderman Savage.
Just respond to that. The Planning Commission recommendations came out May 2nd. The holdup primarily was on their end. They did not add it to their agenda for almost the full, I think, 9 months that they get to get legislation. It may have even been longer. But in any case, that's been on Legistar since May 2nd. This has been to the council twice. We postponed it twice, as the city attorney mentioned, and sent it back to committee, I think, twice. This would be the third time. So we've had ample time to review it. Alderman, it's been on the agenda for a long time. When you get down to it, it's an incredibly simple ordinance that does 3 things. I have an amendment that would make it only do 2 things. 2 very simple things I go over very quickly.
Just for clarity, I've never said I don't support the idea of forest conservation. I obviously do so. I am against the idea of, you're right, it has been out since May, but it has not been before this full body in a while, so.
Thank you. Alderman Finlayson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, this was referred to Rules and City Government I'm reading it. It was referred to Rules and City Government, but you do realize that we can request any legislation to go into any committee that we'd like for it to go to. But I'd like to also remind you that we postponed action so that you could be there to speak to your 2 amendments. That's why we didn't act on it at the last meeting. And so for that reason, it should be allowed to come back to rules. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're going to vote on the postponement. Needs 100%. All those in favor say the motion to postpone till...
To be referred back to, it's to be referred back to rules.
But we need to postpone it so it can go back to
30 days.
rules. So what?
30 days.
30 days. Thank you.
You could actually just say until the next.
Okay, so let's go. All those in favor of the postponement, please.
There's only one meeting in December.
Exactly.
Two
Rules
meetings.
does have a meeting in September, December 6th.
So you could actually hear it on December the 6th and it'd be sent back to this body.
So you can get it in? Yep, okay. All those in favor of the postponement say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
Okay, that is not 100%, so now we're going to get to vote on the ordinance. I'll be voting no, so, Alderman Gay.
Curious, with the staff report, and again, I've stated that I have no issue with your objective, I just have slight concerns. In particular, it says, although there are no pending projects in the city with forest conservation plan approved prior to September 26, 2016, there's one known project that may seek a major modification if this site is based on its approved forest modification plan. Should this modification move forward, the project forest conservation plan would be subject to the revision of 02623. Why not exempt the only project that this would impact?
Alderman Savage?
Well, there's a question about whether or not it would actually impact it. It's the Rocky Gorge project, and one of the impetus for introducing this was because of, if you remember years ago, what we called, or the newspaper called zombie permits. And in this case, that project in particular has approval dating back 25 years now, I think. And so, it's been long enough. I think that project, any project like that should have to comply with our latest regulations. But that said, it's a moot point because our staff has revoked those permits because they've expired, at least for the grading permit. Yes. For Rocky Gorge. Yeah, for Athens. So they have to start over anyway. But I wanted to remove it because I don't want this to come up again. There may be some project we're not aware of. I think it's been so long that we just need to remove that exemption loophole to the city code.
I still have the floor. Just curious, there has already been considerable work done at the site mentioned. The permits have been pulled, I'm hearing from staff. If the staff could speak to, what exactly would happen if this were to go in effect, is pretty vague in saying, should this major modification move forward, the project forest conservation plan would be subject to the provisions.
I'm just going to get the city manager to speak to that, or Vicky.
Again, Jackie Guile, Deputy City Manager for Resilience and Sustainability. I know the permit was pulled on the Rocky Gorge/Athens project, as it was later characterized. Director of Planning and Zoning had the discretion to revoke that permit for lack of action on that project. He actually went above and beyond by reaching out to the builder on that project several times to see if they were going to move forward with any work on that project. When they did not respond several times, he chose to revoke the permit. There was some grading work done on that permit. Trees were taken down on that property, but nothing else happened on that project. We believe that there were there was a discrepancy between the builder and the project developer, and they chose to go their own ways, so no work was ever done and no plans are made to go forward with the project. So nothing is being done at that project. And as Alderman Savage just said, if anyone chose to go forward, they would have to start all over from the beginning with a project proposal, with a permit. All permits would have to be applied for, regardless of what has been done there. They would just have to start all over again. They would have to submit a forest conservation plan, planning plan, and have that approved right from the beginning, everything from scratch. That's what I've been told by the Director of Planning and Zoning.
Thank you. I still have the floor. Curious why the Director of Planning and Zoning is not here. If that is his prerogative, and I love the Director of Planning and Zoning, so that's no shade, but this is a major piece of legislation. Lack of action on the site. So I recall going by several times. I know the tornado happened, and so there was a lot of stuff going on there. Then there were work trucks, and there was even, public testimony here of a lot of people and traffic. So if there were already, very detailed conversations that there would be some form of housing there, why would, wouldn't it be in the best interest of the city to just say, hey, let's have something actually built here so that we don't have a massive dirt patch off of the side of residential housing? In particular, because we do, as a body, have passed legislation or resolutions several times confessing our support for density and housing being built in the city.
And some action will have to be taken there, because that site can't be allowed to stand in the current condition, because it's basically an open site right now.
Yeah,
So it needs to be contained.
Wouldn't it be in our best interest to?
Well, it needs to be contained in some way. There needs to be some sediment and erosion control there, what had been done in the past. There's no active management of that site right now. So what had been done there as far as sediment and erosion control is old, and it's not acting in the way it should be. So Department of Public Works needs to assess the site as well and see what needs to be done there as far as containing of the soils there, what kind of replanting plan might need to be done there. So Department of Public Works and Planning and Zoning are talking to each other about what needs to be done there right now to contain that site so it's not damaging the waterways and other kinds of environmental damage.
And thank you.
And then to look at it to what's the best use of the site right now.
Thank
and
you
if
very
there's
much.
any other
That clears
plans
up a
for it.
lot for me. My last point, I remember when this permits for this project came back up, that it was because of direction, for lack of a better word, from the state government. And so does this ordinance supersede what because the only reason that this project could move forward was because of during COVID, they had, allowed the projects to move forward or something like that. And so does this supersede what, they had previously did?
All their permits have been cancelled, so they have to start all over again.
Okay,
So
it was just
the
for that
tolling that was allowed through COVID and through other things for that project has been taken away. Yeah. Alderman Savage? Yeah.
A quick clarification, because the only exception to what the deputy city manager said is that I believe their record plat would still be valid unless they seek a modification to it, which it's their right to try to modify. But the record plat generally tells you where you potentially have buildable lots and where you don't, right? But after that is what comes the forest conservation, stormwater grading. And so they haven't been reset all the way to the beginning. They've just been reset to having to reapply for grading and stormwater because those have expired.
Any other questions? So you've moved it and seconded it, so we voted down the postponement. I was going to support the postponement.
Well, so just a general information for this. So thank you for that transition. That is one of the things it would do. The second thing the legislation would do is modify, and I do want to get this out because there's been a lot of misinformation being spread by, I think, some of the moneyed interest in the city. But the second thing it would do is modify the appeal process in that currently there are basically 2-3 levels of appeal, right? If somebody wants to appeal forest conservation approval, it goes to the Building Board of Appeals. That's a city body. Second level of appeal would go to the state, or the Court of Appeals. The third level of appeal would go up, obviously, to federal, right? And so what the legislation would do is to say for that first level of appeal to the city board, that it would be a requirement that there would be a halt on any kind of forest clearing while the appeal is pending. And my rationale on that is there's no use even having an appeal process if you can remove and destroy the very thing people are trying to appeal. It'd be like somebody, trying to clear a tree or build on your property. We need to have an appeal process and a way to put a halt to that if there's some kind of appeal's been filed. And so that would be on that first level of appeal. There would be that stay or a halt on forest clearing. The second level of appeal, this legislation does not require that stay or that halt. What it does is say that the director may require that if they feel it's warranted. It's not a hard requirement. Now the Planning Commission, and personally that's what I would prefer, but the Planning Commission also recommended that it be shall for both. So they wanted that stay, that halt on the clearing for both levels of appeal. What I tried to do is compromise to at least to just say, look, how about we just say the local appeal to the Building Board of Appeals, that's going to be what is stayed as far as, and that the state circuit court, that's going to be at just the discretion of the courts or the planning director. So that's I don't think that's going to create much delay because the city appeal to the Building Board of Appeals usually doesn't take very long. It's just a matter of a few months as opposed to the state, which could take a lot longer. But that at least builds in a safety valve here, because it's always bothered me, because again, once an old forest is removed, it's too late, and I at least want to give people the due process to have their appeal be heard before anything's cleared.
Neil?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Having heard from 2 or 3 constituents today, both by email and phone call, their biggest concern was that movement to zoning as opposed to building board. So your amendment, keeping it with the building board, is appreciated. And the biggest concern of 2 of the constituents that reached out to me today were that the continuation of the stopping of Providence Point through legislation like this. They hereby ask that that is not part of this, and the hope is that we're not trying to stop that through legislation such as this.
Alderman Savage?
Yeah, thank you.
We all have that concern, so.
Yeah, thank you for that. And this was created way before that was that resolution even came up. If it passes as is, it would most likely not impact. And I say most likely because it would not require that the developer stay their construction until the court has come to their decision, but it would allow the planning director to say, hey, we think there's enough validity here. To the appeal, they could say, no, you can't start construction. All that said as well, it's also a moot point because the developer is already committed to not starting work until the appeal is settled. I mean, personally, I agree in that I think the Crab Creek appeal is frivolous. It is a delay tactic, but again, it's due process, and so in this case, the legislation would leave that up to the discretion of the department to stop the clearing.
Second amendment.
Thank you.
And Alderman Gay?
So what I'm hearing is that the project could be impacted, but you don't believe that that is likely, but there's still potential that this ordinance 02623 could impact. I still call it Crystal Springs. What's the project's name? Providence Point. Thank you.
Well, again, it's not going. The developers already said they're going to do what that they're not going to clear the forest during appeal. So this is not going to. They've already made that decision.
But does this enhance the requirements for? It does obviously enhance the forest conservation requirements. Does that impact them?
No, it doesn't enhance the requirements at all in the Forest Conservation Act. All it would, in this case, all it would say for the Crystal Spring, for Providence Point, is that the director may tell them not to clear the forest until the appeal's heard. But again, they're doing that anyway, so it's not going to have an impact on this project unless the developer were to change their mind and want to get started now with clearing the forest, and then the director could potentially say, no, just wait till the appeal's done. But it's a lot of unknowns. So I mean, again, my intention with this was to look beyond that project. I wasn't focusing on any particular project with this.
Alderman Shannemeyer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this legislation doesn't really add. The legislation as written doesn't really add anything extra. There was an amendment that expanded out who could appeal the process that would have had more significant landmines to the who could actually appeal. That's been withdrawn. What I will say is a lot of the damage of who can file frivolous lawsuits and things that's already in our code, and who can delay things that's already in our code. This one just sort of puts into things that developers already do. Most developers, when there's a judicial review process, don't clear land because it puts their investment at risk. So just kind of codifies a practice they're already doing. I will say though, we do need to, next council, take a pretty hard look at how we view housing and development and approvals, because this thing isn't gonna ruin, this legislation isn't gonna cause a major issue in this, but we got a lot of stuff in our code, man, that's just already caused a lot of problems. This isn't gonna make it worse, but.
And Alderman Savage, is that Second Amendment a shall or a may? Sorry.
The second one, I'm not going to introduce. It was kind of it was just, I was confused with some feedback I was getting from some colleagues, but I was wrong on that, so I'm not introducing the.
So that's not on here?
It's on there, but I'm not.
Yeah.
The only amendment would keep it as Building Board of Appeals. No.
Okay.
The only
So I'm still confused, and my fear is people have weaponized the appeals process so much in this city, and I don't know enough to vote for this because I know they're crafty people out there who have managed to put a stop to so many things here, and already we have a lot of inertia created through that process. So I would have liked to delay to have some time on this, but I'm willing. Of course, we've got to vote on it now. So. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that what you did?
So the First Amendment, originally I was changing the appeal to trying to change it to the Zoning Board of Appeals because it's actually in their code. But the more I thought about it and talked with others about it, I'd like to keep it as Building Board of Appeals. Because their workload is a lot less than the zoning board, and that again, I think goes with the intention of trying to keep things moving, is just to keep the appeals with that board, building board. And so I'd like to move Amendment 1.
Okay. Any questions on that?
So.
All those in favor? Sorry, on we go.
So just plan development that is obtained final plan development approval prior to September, the disposition of which remains governed by former section. Okay, so it's just going straight to the board. All right, thank you.
I got a question.
No worries. Did you get your question answered? Okay. Alderman Pindell-Charles?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Question, and I thought I read it here, but you emphasized it, Alderman Savage. Is that a legitimate legal strategy when you're talking about workload? Who has the heaviest workload when determining the appeals process?
Well, I mean, that's the current code has it going to the Building Board of Appeals. And that could, because that was the intention when the legislation passed back in 2016 or 15, that it was going to go to that board because part of the Forest Conservation Act was under Chapter 17, I believe, and so it was going. It's kind of, you could have the argument either way which board it was going to go to, and so that's why in the Building Board of Appeal code, I think a previous council, I can't remember if it was us, added some qualifications that they have some environmental background. And so, again, it's just kind of a change of thinking on my part. Originally, I was thinking, because part of it's in Chapter 21, that it should go to the zoning board, but that board, again, I mean, I guess it comes down to policy decision. I thought that board, my impression is they get a lot of work, and when I looked at the building board, they've only had like 2 meetings in the past 10 months. So for now, I'd like to just.
Which begs the question, is that a legitimate legal argument to make based on workload, I guess? And I understand what you're saying about how this all came to pass. I'm just, that's kind of my skittishness.
That's how it currently is in the code. It's with the Building Board of Appeals. So what I'm asking is that it stay with the current policy that was adopted 10 years ago.
Thank you.
I'm not proposing to change it anymore.
Alderman Finlayson?
Yes, just a point of information. Are we discussing Amendment 1 and is Amendment 2 withdrawn?
That's correct.
So there's a motion and a second on Amendment 1, yeah?
Yeah. No, I just won't introduce it.
Alderman Finlayson, you're okay? Yeah. So All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to vote on it as amended. Can I get a motion on that? Thank you.
Second.
Okay.
Actually.
Alderman Gay? Yeah. No. Yep. And I think it's going to be a close one, so I'm going to ask for a roll call on this. Yeah.
Have we vote? I got a question.
We're going to vote on it now as amended.
Have we voted on amendment number 2 to withdraw it?
No, it's not been, hasn't been introduced.
Okay, thank you.
So it's one amendment. We're voting on it as amended with one. Please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mayor Buckley?
No.
Alderman Huntley?
Aye.
Alderwoman O'Neill?
Aye.
Alderwoman Pendle Charles?
No.
Alderman Finlayson?
No.
Alderman Schneidermeyer? Alderman Gay?
No.
Alderman Savage?
Aye.
Alderman Arnett?
Aye.
Let's vote on it on
5-4.
third reader. What's it?
So we need to.
Yep. Can I get a motion on third
So
reader?
moved.
Yep.
Second.
Motion on third reader.
Motion on third reader now. No. I just wanted a roll call because I thought it was going to be pretty close, so we wouldn't hear. So, okay.
Second.
Right.
Mayor Buckley?
I'm going to stay with no. Thank you.
Alderman Huntley?
Aye.
Alderwoman O'Neill?
Aye.
Alderman Pendle Charles?
No.
Alderman Finlayson?
No.
Alderman Schneidermeyer? Alderman Gay?
No.
Alderman Savage?
Aye.
Alderman Arnett?
Aye.
Yeah, it passes.
Right. Passes. Cool. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is O 2024 election surplus funds and reporting deadlines.
Could I get a motion to adopt O-20 on 24 and a second, please?
So moved.
Thank you. I see we have a Finlayson amendment here. Nope, it's not you?
It came out of rules. Rules and
Something
city.
coming from rules?
It's not attached.
It's on there.
It's on mine. Do you want to read it?
This is R42.
This comes out of the Rules Committee. Do you want me to?
Yeah, no, so everyone knows what the amendment is?
So Amendment 1, page 3, renames the section, timely reports required, changes it to timely filing requirements. On page 3, under payment sources, we're requesting that we strike cannot and include the word can. On page 4, we're striking all of section B. And on page 4, again, on line 30, striking candidate's financial condition and inserting extenuating circumstances.
Okay.
And I'll move it on behalf of the Rules Committee.
Second.
Second. All right, thank you. Alderman Savage?
I just wonder, could somebody explain I guess what motivated the change? Because the original intention clearly was to not have the fine be able to be paid by the candidate out of their account. So is that compliant with the state? I thought these came from state requirements. So is it compliant with the state requirements to have it now be that the candidates can pay out of their campaign account?
We are in compliance with the state requirements.
I mean, do you mean currently, or you mean as the amendment would be implying?
By way of the education or the elections committee, we thoroughly vetted these changes with them, and they are in compliance with state standards.
And
Alderman Chandler, then.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So state law allows fines to be paid out of campaign accounts. In fact, they really encourage fines to come out of campaign accounts. They really try to discourage personal money to be used for those fines. My understanding is the rationale, they wanted personal skin in the game for us to pay fines that way because they wanted us to try, the candidates to try and be on their best behavior, and they thought that would be more encouraged by personal money. The thought process was that could discourage potential candidates from filing because these fines can add up, and if personal money is used, that might discourage someone who might come from lesser means but might have, campaign money to fund it. So that's more in compliance with what the state actually does.
Thank you, Alderman Huntley.
I understand that Alderman Chandler's rationale, but I'd point out, so full disclosure, I don't agree with this amendment. I understand what Alderman Chandler is saying, but there is also the opportunity to have those waivers, right? You can get the fee waived by explaining your extenuating circumstances. And I would question, I understand the Board of Supervisors worked to make sure this is in compliance with state law, but is the Board of Supervisors, is this the Board of Supervisors election preference? Is it the preference, is it the recommendation of the Board of Supervisors of Elections that these be allowed to be paid out of campaign accounts? Or is it their preference that they continue to be required to be paid out of your own personal skin in the game?
Yep.
It is their preference that this change not be made, is what I'm hearing from our city clerk. I'm gonna go.
Yes, that's why the amendment is coming from the Rules Committee.
Again, the state's rules are different than our rules, so this is totally separate from the state. So they can do their own thing, we're doing our own thing. It's fine for you to disagree. It's all good. I think personal finance, requiring personal funds discourages more candidates from filing. It's fine if you disagree. That's the game.
Thank you. Alderman Finlayson, then Alderman Arnett.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like for us, if we might hear from City Clerk Eldridge. As she sits on or serves the Education, keep calling it the Education Commission, sorry, the Elections Commission, because I know they had quite a bit of discussion, I believe, around this topic. Can you share with us any pertinent discussion that they had that may help clarify our reasoning here?
Basically, when they discussed whether the funds, if the candidates could pay funds from their campaign accounts, the board members were not in favor of it. And that's why they went to the Rules Committee and you guys proposed your amendment. They just said no.
So they opposed the amendment that we're bringing forward?
Yes.
So this recommendation comes solely from the Rules Committee, not from the Board of Elections?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Alderman Arnett.
So it became clear to me, at least, when we were discussing this with the chair of the Board of Supervisors, that the intent of making it out of the candidate's pocket was very much punitive. And when they said, well, you can ask for a waiver, you're asking for a waiver from the very people that are intending it to be punitive. So I wonder what chance you have of getting a waiver. Furthermore, this really does, we do have a hard time finding candidates who aren't old and retired and finding treasurers who have a very strong reporting burden on them without pay. And so it makes it hard to get people to volunteer to be a treasurer on top of this. But I have to say that I rankled at this punitive attitude on the part of the Board of Elections. There will be fines. The fines can go on for a while. If the fines are not paid, you can be taken to circuit court. There's ample threats for not filing and paying in the code. So that is the genesis for this amendment.
Alderman Huntley.
I think we don't have, while I agree with Alderman Arnett that they, in many ways, are significant requirements on treasurers, in practice, we don't have very many filing deadlines before a primary election. You have one the fourth Tuesday before it, you have one the Tuesday right before it. So if you just stall for a month, we could have an election where nobody knows where your money's coming from. And we know that in many cases, those primary elections are what determines it. So I can get the idea that we don't want to be too punitive, but at the end of the day, we want people to know where their candidates are getting financed. And in the idea that you could just stall away and then pay it out of some dark money that the voters will not have seen before the election strikes me as very bad.
I can guarantee you, as an opponent of that candidate, I would certainly broadcast that they're not revealing their financing, not financing properly. Look, I'm not going to fall on my sword on this. There are a lot more filing dates, including filing dates when we're not even running for election, during the general. The burden on the treasurer is extremely heavy. And more and more people are getting wise to that and saying, oh, no, I'm not just going to do that as it's a la-di-da job. And the clear attitude that I took away was this was intended to be punitive, and the same people that are intended to be punitive were the very people who would give the waiver or not. And so that is the genesis for these amendments. Again, it's majority rule, so we'll see whether the amendment is accepted or not.
Alderman Shanemeyer, then Alderman Gay.
So I'm going to tell you the 2 times that I missed a deadline and caught fines. And it wasn't due to me trying to hide dark money. One was I was sick, couldn't wrangle time to get signatures, and just forgot because I was sick. The other was my treasurer is a single mom, and we just weren't able to find a time to get signatures because coordinating a campaign, full-time job. My treasurer works full-time job and is a single mom. Like, that's most of these things, man. It's not people trying to hide stuff. It's just volunteers living life. We're volunteers doing our best.
I was just calling the question.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, it's a simple, I think we've all agreed on.
Anybody taking money from George Soros
recommended the...
or Elon Musk here? Just come clean now.
No. I do think...
Okay, all those in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? No. Thank you. Can I get a motion to adopt O-2024 as amended?
So move.
We need a roll call on that.
I think the ayes got it, but we could, yeah, the ayes got it, right?
All right. You need one, so.
There's a second shot at it here. Okay, this will be, we'll do a roll call on this. Is there a motion to adopt O-24 as amended on second reader?
So moved.
And I'll do a roll call instead of a, please. Aye.
Sorry. Alderman Huntley. Aye. Alderman O'Neill.
Aye.
Alderman Pendle Charles.
Aye.
Alderman Finlayson.
Aye.
Alderman Shanemeyer.
Aye.
Alderman Gay.
Aye.
Alderman Savage.
Aye.
Alderman Arnett.
Aye.
I have something funny to say.
O'Neill?
Really quickly, I believe that there's just a editing error on page 4, line 7, where it says the board will notify the candidate treasurer and treasurer in writing. Right? Isn't that a redundancy? The candidate, comma, treasurer, comma, and treasurer.
Okay.
Thank you. Got that? You got that?
Can we
Thank
just
you.
fix
Can I
that?
get a motion on third reader, please?
Thank you.
So moved.
And Alderman Pendle Charles, did you have questions?
I just, Alderman Shannon sounded like, you know, the reason he didn't give it, it sounded like why he didn't do his homework last night. My dog
your
ate
dog
my
eat it?
homework.
Yeah.
I respect you, but I thought it was kind of, thank you for that.
I have a cat. She doesn't
I'm
need
sorry.
homework.
Now we need a roll call for third reader, please.
Mayor Buckley.
Aye.
Alderman Huntley. Aye. Alderwoman O'Neill.
Aye.
Alderman Pendle Charles.
Aye.
Alderwoman Finlayson.
Aye.
Alderman Shannon Meyer. Alderman Gay.
Aye.
Alderman Savage.
Aye.
Alderman Arnett.
Aye.
Oh, yes.
Mr.
that-
City Attorney, please present the next on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is Resolution R 4324, fees schedule updated for Title IV.
So move.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mayor Buckley.
Aye.
Alderman Huntley. Aye. Alderwoman O'Neill.
Aye.
Alderman Pendle Charles.
Aye.
Alderwoman Finlayson.
Aye.
Alderman Shannon Meyer.
Aye.
Alderman Gay.
Aye.
Alderman Savage.
Aye.
Alderman Arnett.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is Resolution R 5224, 25-year Alex Haley Memorial Celebration.
You could I get a motion to adopt R-52-24 on second reader.
Second.
Yeah, it's the
It was added. It was
25-year
amended.
Added.
Alex Haley Memorial Celebration.
was
Accepting
added.
as a major special event, waiving charges.
The fee waiver.
Co-sponsor.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, is there something we have in writing or paper copy or something?
We can
get
go
that
back
to you.
and look from
On
the
the last
first reader.
agenda?
It was on the last
Yeah,
agenda?
we amended the agenda to get it on there, and
Okay, thank you.
it said Alex Haley, so I didn't think anyone would be against it. so. Right. We'll see you on the roll call. Please call the roll, Madam City Clerk.
Yes, sir. Mayor Buckley.
Aye.
Alderman Huntley. Alderwoman O'Neill.
Aye.
Alderman Pendle Charles.
Aye.
Alderman Finlayson.
Aye.
Alderman Shannon Meyer.
Aye.
Alderman Gay.
Aye.
Alderman Savage.
Aye.
Alderman Arnett.
Aye.
And can you
Thank you.
please add me as a co-sponsor?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. City Attorney, please present the next on the agenda.
The agenda has been complete, Mr. Mayor.
Right, is there anything else for good order? Alderman O'Neill.
Thank you very much. I would like to give a huge shout out to citizens of Annapolis, and most especially my Food Friday volunteers. We were able to collect 260 gift cards to give to our Food Friday families in their Thanksgiving distribution on Friday. And those came in singly and from members of the community, from our volunteers, and a friend of mine who lives in Japan. So I'll give a shout out to that. But it was really amazing to see 1s and 2 cards coming in for the purpose of helping our families have a better Thanksgiving celebration. So it was really great. We've had a lot of notices from families that received the boxes, how thankful they are that they have the opportunity to go and purchase Thanksgiving items from the grocery store.
So a big
Thank
round of
you to-
applause for all those volunteers. Thank you. Alderman Pendle Charles.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I'd like to give a big shout out to Alderwoman O'Neill, who always calls if there's an issue when she finds a situation that the person isn't responding, or there's a medical issue. In one case in my ward, the person had actually passed away. So thank you so much for calling me. I did speak to the young lady tonight at the Stanton Center. All is well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, anything else? Could I get a motion to adjourn, please?
Moved.
And a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against? Meeting adjourned.